What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So since 7.1, I've been stalking a bunch of Koreans to bring you some new picks or builds that are doing a lot better right now. Let me know what you think of these or ones you think are going to pop up soon, but let's jump into the first one, which is actually Camille. She's the strongest champion in the game at the moment, banned in 70% of games roughly over in Korea, which is ridiculous. And she's also picked in another 5%, so that's like 75% of games has her picked or banned. It's a different build though than we actually see most like EU and North America players doing. So it's Triforce into Titanic Hydra as pretty much core every single game. Over here it's a lot of Triforce into Ravenous Hydra. They don't really do that at all over that. After the Triforce and Titanic, they go like Guardian Angels, Sterix, Deadmans, or Randomins and Visage and stuff like that. So basically like tanky afterwards. They're kind of relying on the Triforce damage, Camille's natural damage, and then stacking health to make Titanic really sting. Also it's Ninja Tabby Boots with Further Battle as the keystone. It's actually kind of funny over here. She just stomps everybody and is super strong. But in Korea, actually the win rate is not that great early. It's amazing late game though. It keeps getting better and better during the game, and after 3 items it really spikes up. You're able to jump in, you kill stuff quickly, and you don't die either. It's pretty disgusting. Darius and Fiora seem to be the main ones who can actually beat her, except Jax actually. Jax has almost a 60% win rate against Camille in Korea. He has the mixed damage which messes with her passive. The counter strike kind of screws her over big time as well, so she's actually able to duel her. I'm not going to go into this Meiji because she's not even played that much in Korea at the moment. She's just legit banned all of the time, but without a doubt she is the most overpowered thing in Korea at the moment in 7.1. Now Rengar would actually be a close second for most overpowered though, which is a bit weird. Like he's jumped up in play rate and win rate at the same time. We over here mostly go lethality build, right? Warrior, Ghostblade, Dustblade and stuff like that. Koreans don't always do that. Well, not straight away. It's Warrior, which is normally Red Smite by the way, Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, Deadmans, and more Mortis. It's kind of like a Bruiser, Rengar, and they end with more lethality like Edge of Night and Dustblade later. They also go Boots of Mobility, of course they do, more than cooldown reduction. They just run around and gank all the time, and they run with ultimate even faster, so it's really hard to get away from it because remember they have the increased range now where you see Rengar. With Boots of Mobility you're running so fast it doesn't actually really matter that much. You get more advanced warning, but it's still going to be a bit too late. You have good matchups versus pretty much every other jungler, including Lee Sin actually, who's the most popular by far over there. He's still one shots, but you have like more teamfight impact actually with a bit more durability, and you can survive a bit longer after you jump in. It really does fit the Korean aggressive playstyle as well. You can gank early with damage, but like later you ult every time it's off cooldown and you have a massive impact. Bruiser, kind of tanky, damage Rengar is legit broken right now. Surprisingly, the best matchup against Rengar in the jungle at least is Jarvan, which is kind of strange, but he just gets a bit tanky and he's still able to kill Rengar. You don't have the best late game either as Rengar, not at least over in Korea, but one of the best win rates there until like 35 minutes into the game. And as we all know, games are much shorter this season than they used to be, which is perfect for him. So Rengar is played in about 10% of games, and Kha'Zix actually is now almost at 20% of games and still has a really good win rate at the moment. The reason I'm mentioning him, even though he's kind of popular anyway, is because it's very similar to Rengar in pretty much every single way. Boost mobility, Warrior, Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, more Mortis with Thunderlords. It's not quite as glass cannon as we're used to seeing. In fact, actually the best build this patch so far is Warrior with Red Smite, Black Cleaver, more Mortis, like a durable assassin, which kind of defeats the point. I'm mentioning him though because him and Rengar are dominating way more than they used to at last patch. They're both played a lot more, but their win rate has also gone up. And when they are played more but they win more, you know they're actually really strong. So again, matchup wise is pretty good versus everyone, including Lee Sin as well. Vi is a bit of a problem though, as well as Shaco. You're really solid at like every single stage of the game, but you have a slight edge early actually. Like your damage is nuts after level 6 and your evolved Q. Late is still really good, but it's kind of hard to play as a flanker, like going in from the sides of a fight. Luckily though, like games are shorter. Your resets are great. You're probably one of the best assassins at the moment, even if some matchups aren't that great against certain tanks. Like he doesn't have fun against Poppy for example, or Maokai, who lock him down and it normally means you're dead. If you're aggressive in the game, you can carry with your damage, but if you sit back and your team gets behind, there's not really a lot you can do. So probably one of the most underrated champions in Korea right now, especially at lower elo, is Swain. He's still good higher, especially actually in Europe and North America, but over there it's mainly bronze, silver and gold where he is legit like a top 2, top 5 win rate wise since the patch. He's basically like a mage bruiser, that's how they play him over there. Rod of Ages, Spirit Visage, Zhonya's, Rylai's. He absolutely crushes tanks or melee champions with his constant poke. Honestly, there's such little counterplay. It's so hard to play against a Swain that almost everybody loses lane to Swain, I think. It's probably the most free low champion in this video. He gets really tanky and still does decent damage, especially early. And he has that AoE crowd control as well, like the snare thing, which helps for team fights or setting up ganks. His ultimate as well means you just don't die. He's like that halfway point between tank and damage, kind of like Tank Echo was a long time ago, even though this guy is mostly AP, but he also crushes meta champions. One of the biggest biggest problems with Swain though is you really need items later to do anything, but with them you can 1v5 honestly, especially mid game. That is the other thing as well, he's much better early to mid game than late game. Like late game they're going to cancel your healing a lot and burst through your healing actually anyway, so you need to run around and end the game sooner rather than later, kind of like Jace. Now the next one I'm not going to spend a ton of time on because we'll do a whole video about this probably this week. It's actually really interesting. There is a new build in Korea at the moment for Varus AD carry, which is doing really well. A lot of pros are using this in Challenger as well. It's slowly been getting way more popular. He was in 2% of games a month ago and now we're up to almost 10%. Blazing King is the first item. It was buffed recently. You have the percentage damage on that plus the percentage damage on your blight stacks, both together really hurt as well. Then you get Phantom Dancer or Runins and Infinity Edge, Mormon Mortius, Last Whisper. Like it's a very attack speed heavy and duelist build. It rips through tanks with this big time. It's very similar to how like a Kalista would work. It's very good 1v1 and single target damage. Your ultimate is like the AoE Ashe ult though. It's so good in teamfights. It's so underrated. It's not really engage, but it's like counter engage or controlling fights basically. The lane phase is decent. Your base damage on abilities will do a lot of work and you have high range and your passive attack speed, remember. This was buffed recently so it scales with attack speed really well. It's why we build Blazing King and Phantom Dancer together. You attack so fast after killing a minion or a champion. The problem with Varus is you are still mobile though, right? So you can get ganked pretty easily. There's no way to escape or reposition. That's why he's kind of bad versus like Jhin, Misfortune, and Twitch. All of these guys are going to outrange him and you can't get close to them. You can't run away from them. So you're kind of just left in the middle and you're pretty screwed. Now this one isn't going to pick up on a ton of stat websites, but Corki is crushing bronze and silver elo and doing well in other brackets, but just not as well. We're mostly back to an old build actually. So Triforce, Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge, and Mormon Mortius, sometimes Gunblade as well. But those four are the core items to be honest every game. He's jumped from a 5% play rate to almost 15% just in a week at Plat Plus as well. Probably because I think Abdo created a new account and spammed Corki for freelo, so now everybody is doing it. As an AD carry, he's good. He's doing well as a mid laner as well, so you can play this in both lanes. But a big part of it is just the roaming. With your package, like early to mid game, you're not as great late because of dual damage actually. You're probably about 60% magic, 40% AD. The problem with that is you can't really buy Void Salve and Last Whisper, so late game resistances are going to prevent a lot of damage from you and are going to be a big problem. Your burst though early is insane, so you roam with your package and you just kill people over and over. You snowball the game that way really, but you really dumpster some certain mages like Ryze, Syndra, Katarina, Ahri. This is partly why he's so good at the moment. He just has way too much damage for them to deal with early game and then he roams to get fed as well. You do have to remember Corki is just an AD carry though. If you miss position at any point in the game, you're probably going to get screwed super hard. So let's go on to Taric, and personally I actually hate playing with Taric. I like even worse than Janna, and you guys know I hate playing with Janna. He's always late with his ultimate and they just sit back and do nothing. The thing is, he's one of the best supports in Korea right now when used properly. He's like a late game monster support. He's not really designed to do much in the lane phase really, but like with other redemption supports that doesn't matter as much I guess. Redemption is core with Locket on Taric though. You can go courage or wind speakers, is up to you. It's more about who you play with and how you use your ultimate, the synergy. He is amazing with Twitch, Kalista, and Misfortune, and Jhin even especially, all who are very popular in Korea and doing really well at the moment. He's going to use his ultimate, make them invulnerable, they can't take any damage. Late game that is nuts because they can still kill you obviously, but there's like special synergy with each of them. Misfortune, you get a free ultimate which you cannot interrupt, which is ridiculous. Twitch, you have the stealth and pop out invulnerable, he kills you but cannot be hit. Kalista can throw Taric in for some free stuns or just kite like a god while being invulnerable. Jhin can use his ultimate while being invulnerable. Twitch is even better though. You link to him and he can stun when he's invisible right next to them. That all sounds really good, but he is pretty bad in the lane phase. He does not do that much. Late game, he is one of the best supports at the moment, but early kind of sucks. This is one of those picks like Bard actually. You can 100% do nothing in a game if you mistime your ultimate or you miss your stuns and stuff like that, but you can actually carry so hard. Correct ultimate timing, has some insane synergy and multi-person stuns as well. I'm going to round out the video with two kind of surprise ones actually. The first one is Talon. He's doing a lot better this patch, especially top lane. They take Ignite top lane. It's a lot like the old Pantheon actually. I know you think I have a Pantheon fetish, but he's designed to crush lane and roam to other lanes, completely snowball the game that you can't recover from. This is what Talon kind of does. The build is the same we use here though. Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, Dustblade, or Edge of Night, Mormon Mortius, a very damage hand build. To be honest, I didn't really know where Talon fit into the meta at the moment, but I can kind of see why this works. Like this is average at best late game, but before 35 minutes is actually a good snowball crush pick, kind of like a Kali. They're going to get boosted mobility because of course they're Korean. No real surprise. You kill people in the lane and then you roam around with your jump over walls to surprise people and kind of bypass wards. He has good matchups versus a lot of top champions because he's so aggressive early, and we've kind of slowed down a bit in the meta a little bit, especially with the courage nerfs. Like Darius, Yasuo, and Poppy, it seems like Talon crushes. You can fight these guys early and you end the game before they power up. That's kind of how this actually works. Versus bruisers as well, actually, there's a kind of extra bit of synergy. You make use of your Q better because you don't need to jump to them because they're already melee, so you can crit instead. He is kind of an all or nothing pick though. You can come back late game maybe, but this is designed to crap on lane really hard and roam to kill stuff over and over. That's why it's in this video. It's not really a sitting back and farming up pick. Now don't ask me why this next one is here, but Mordekaiser has actually spiked up in win rate this patch. Pretty much everyone is rushing Gunblade 9 times out of 10 anyway, or Ludens in the other case, but the build is all over the place. I don't know, Rylai's is very common, Liandry's as well, the special synergy between the two, but so is Zhonya's, Trinity Force and Void Staff. The Rylai's Liandry's combo has changed a little bit, so it's cheaper now, remember, so he spikes earlier and gets that finished quicker, but that was the same last patch actually, and it wasn't that good last patch. A lot of this is actually taking Exhaust top lane, not TP. If they take TP, they have a much worse win rate than Exhaust. It's more lane focus, and the reason I mentioned this after Talon is because they weirdly work in a very similar way. His win rate over the game is kind of like a V shape, so it starts high early, kind of meh mid game, but good late game again, so it's like up, down, up. If you get ahead, you're impossible to duel though. You heal for a lot more than people think, and your third Q does a crap ton of damage. Basically, people don't even know what his kit does anymore. They really control Dragon though to push mid towers or take Baron really easy. That's one thing they do a lot. They either TP or they walk down to get dragons whenever they spawn. The bad side of Mord though is you're only going to carry if you do really well in the lane phase, in my opinion. Like if you get spanked, it makes your mid game even worse, and you're kind of boned unless your team does really well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it interesting. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.